Afternoon, everyone. My name's Leslie Goodburn. I'm going to talk to you about Homeward Bound, which is a play, an educational package, and a film about love, relationships, and empathy, and compassion at end of life. And it's a partnership between the National Council for Palliative Care, NHS England, Pancreatic Cancer UK, St Giles Hospice, Leeds Teaching Hospital, myself, and Brian Daniels. So, just want you to imagine life. Life's pretty rosy. It's lovely, it's vibrant, it's colourful. You're just coming up to your 50th birthday, both you and your husband, and you're coming up to your 10th wedding anniversary. So life's pretty rosy and you've got lots of things to celebrate. And you're in a happy, loving relationship, and for a little while now, you've been saving to go to China on the trip of a lifetime to celebrate those 2 birthdays and the anniversary. And you're going to do some trekking on the Great Wall, you're going to see the pandas at Chengdu, you're going to go to the Forbidden City, you're going to end up in Hong Kong via Shanghai. So life's vibrant, it's warm, it's colourful, it's wonderful. But then one day, after a couple of weeks of not feeling well, your husband is diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and told he's got days, maybe weeks to live, and actually the world turns quite dark and black. You've already had a conversation about death and dying previously, and your world, the world's your oyster, but suddenly this news comes to you and your world shrinks back, and you've had the conversation and you know that your loved one wants to die at home. But actually pancreatic cancer is such an awful disease that's diagnosed very often at late stage that actually the disease progresses so much that you end up in a hospital ward, and actually your world has shrunk from going to China to a bed and a toilet and a bathroom in a hospital ward. So, loving relationship, 2 people. Those two people happen to be me and Seth, my husband. Seth was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and 33 days later he died. And our world revolved around each other. We were very devoted people, and actually we had this loving relationship, and then suddenly, because of this disease, all these other people became involved in our life and our relationship. And they were medical people, they were oncologists, they were surgeons, they were palliative care teams, they were community palliative care nurses, they were occupational therapists, they were cleaners, porters, and catering staff. And actually, during those 33 days that Seth was in the hospital, he wasn't in the hospital the whole time. He was in for 7 days, back home for 12, and then was admitted back into hospital. And even though he wanted to die at home, just the medical interventions, the focus on what was wrong with him rather than him as a person, meant that he died in the acute hospital 33 days after his diagnosis, and my world turned black. 6 months after Seth died, I decided to sit down in a room and write about what happened during those 33 days, how no one in the medical profession was unkind or unthoughtful. Nobody did anything deliberately nasty, but actually the things that happened just weren't the way we wanted it to be. There was a focus on the medicine, on the interventions, not on the person as a whole. So I wrote a 33-day journey and some letters, and also got Seth's medical records. And I shared those letters, and actually nothing really happened. So I was determined that I was going to share our experience, because I promised Seth that I would, because I wanted to make sure that what happened to us wouldn't happen to other people in the future. So we started a partnership that began with me, that linked me with the National Council for Palliative Care, and we'd had this idea of creating a play about the story, to tell the story of Seth and what happened in those 33 days. And then the National Council linked me in with Brian Daniels, who's a playwright, and Brian used the letters that I'd written to actually develop a play called Homeward Bound. That was launched last March. Since then we've done that play to over 1,000 healthcare professionals in 16 different locations at improvement conferences and big conferences. and Homeward Bound, the play, was born and delivered. But then Pancreatic Cancer UK, who I was also supporting in raising awareness of the disease, we then talked about some kind of educational package that would help healthcare professionals, and Pancreatic Cancer came on board, along with Leeds Teaching Hospital, to think about developing an educational package based on the play, a resource and a film. And then St Giles Hospice in Lichfield came on board, and NHS England came on board. And Homeward Bound, the play, the film and the educational package was born. Some feedback from the play, the two biggest things there are powerful and thought-provoking, and that's exactly what we wanted it to be. So I'm just going to share a little bit of a film with you.
It's so good to be back in my own home, sitting in my comfortable chair with Les by my side. I love this house. I know it like the back of my hand. It's so warm and it feels safe and ordered. It'll be just the same when I'm gone. Everything's going to go on just the same, but without me in it.
Without you, it's a house, not a home. It was us creating it together that made it our home. I don't think I want to stay on without you, Seth.
I'll be here in spirit, though. Oh, yes. You won't be able to move without knowing I'm sitting on your shoulder, telling you what to do and what not to do. It's all right. Promise me something.
What?
Stay on in this house. Don't move.
Can't believe we're having this conversation.
Now, don't go all soppy on me. I've written things down. Who gets what, the music I want at my funeral, and all the computer passwords, because you'll be lost without them.
I'm already lost. Hello, Leslie Goodburn speaking. Oh, yes. Lovely, thank you so much for calling. Right, the 28th, 11 a.m, so that's a week today. Thank you so much.
Who was that?
That was a palliative care nurse. She's coming on the 28th to go through options.
Well, that sounds ominous.
No, they offer a hospice at home support, and that's what we want. She sounded lovely.
I'm not ready to go. I've been robbed, and you've been robbed of our future.
There's nothing to say.
No, there is nothing. Nothing at all.
A week had passed, and I was getting more worried about Seth. He wouldn't speak or make eye contact. It's 11 a.m. They said they'd be here at 11. Puts my nerves on edge when they're late. Oh, hang on, there's a car pulling up now. Oh no, that's not them. Oh, it's Dr. Higgins. She did say she might pop in after morning surgery to check up on you. And there is another car now pulling up behind her. This looks like the hospice people. I'll go and let them all in.
That GP, Dr. Higgins, Angela by name, angelic by nature. Nothing is too much for her. That's when you can get to see her. She actually phoned Mr. Khan, the pharmacist, one Sunday morning. He was closed, but she sweet-talked him into getting the medicines made up. He's a bit of an angel too. When Les went to make her a coffee, I asked if I could have a little word. She took my hand. I said, "It's about Les." She said, "Go on." I said, "Who'll take care of her when I'm gone? She comes across as strong and capable, but nobody knows her like I do. She'll..."
Sorry, I had to stop it there. So, Homeward Bound, the play, the resource and the film is Seth's legacy. It's about compassionate care, it's about making connections, it's about people, not diseases. And it's about understanding what it's like to be in that situation where life turns from a normal life to suddenly being told the news that someone you love is dying. So Homeward Bound is Seth's legacy, and the partnership that came together over the last 12 months. This time last year, the play was just being launched, and the partnership that grew organically between the organisations and the individuals is Seth's legacy. Thank you.